This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and we are in hour 96 of the Aaron Rodgers watch.
Okay, yeah.
So we find out what's going to happen with the Steelers quarterback situation, although reportedly they have made a move today. It hasn't been officially announced by the team yet.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they've agreed to terms to bring Mason Rudolph back. We'll see when that gets announced here, but they don't announce anything until pen is signed to paper.
Right, which a lot of that seems to be happening today with things we already knew. You know?
They brought in all the guys today that we already knew about, had them do that. As we speak here, it's become official.
Yeah.
That DK Metcalf is a Steeler, and as they also have signed cornerback Darius Slay.
Okay, those are official in the books.
Done.
Concrete. Boom.
Yeah.
Back to Rudolph. I love it. I mean, I just think it gives you a guy you can line up and play with. Maybe he's just your number two for the next 2 years. It's reportedly a 2-year deal. $8 million over 2 from what they say. Fine. Yeah, he's that good a player. I'm fine with him there. He's shown he can win games in this league. If Rodgers is going to screw around for who knows how long, all right, I'm done with that. Move on. Wilson's taken a tour of Browns and Giant Land and get the impression he probably won't be back, but who knows? I could write a story where you go with Rudolph and a rookie and try to win 13-9 time and time again. I mean, he's not the next Ben or Bradshaw, but it's a quality dude in the room, and it's a start,
All I've heard, though, is that the Steelers can't develop quarterbacks. Mike Tomlin has never developed a quarterback. He had been for 15 years. Well, yeah, you don't have to develop a quarterback.
You're not using first-round picks to try to replace Ben in year 3.
Right.
Right.
So, you're not going to develop a quarterback in that time period.
Right.
But that overlooks the fact that they did develop Mason Rudolph.
Right. He's gotten better and better, and his end of stint here was pretty darn good. Nobody succeeded in Tennessee, and I didn't think he played bad for the Titans.
Yeah.
So, no, I think this is a real good pickup. I think there's a chance he's your opening day starter. I mean, that sounds far-fetched. I think there's –
I don't.
I assume
I think he's number 2.
I think that's
whoever comes.
Great. That's what you want. He might be the number 2 next year with a first-round pick. I mean, there's just a lot of different avenues.
Ideally, they wanted him back last year, and he chose to go to Tennessee because he saw a better opportunity to start, and he was right.
Yeah.
But they wanted him back last year.
Tennessee doesn't block anyone, but
I don't know if that had been the case. I don't know that they ever would have made the trade for Justin Fields.
Yeah, it's possible. Right.
I mean, you don't know how the dominoes fall.
Right.
In that situation.
But you don't need 3, that are legit dudes. Not this, hanger-oner type guys. Yeah, maybe not.
But once Pickett said he wanted out, now they had to go get a credible backup, and so they made the trade.
Rudolph was
for
already
Justin
gone
Fields.
at that point.
And Rudolph
right?
was gone. Yeah.
Okay, because that happened post free agency, the Pickett trade, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and thus the Fields trade. I'm trying to put the timeline together.
Yeah, Wilson was the opening day of the tampering period.
Okay,
and then the rest of it fell in line over the next several days.
Okay. So you're still under the impression, not that this would change anything we thought one day ago, that Rodgers or a brand name starter will be the opening day starter.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I tend to agree.
To me, it's still Rodgers or Wilson.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's cool with me too.
I know it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
People want the immediacy of it, but that's what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine.
And if it's not that, then Kirk Cousins, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say Cousins, or you could even still trade for Carr or something like that.
Or Purdy, apparently. I don't know.
Or Purdy, right. The Mac Jones thing's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I could see Shanahan falling in love with him, being like, I'm done negotiating with Purdy. Let's move him to
we're not going to pay
the
him
Titans or somebody.
Yeah,
or whatever,
we're not going to pay him what he wants to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to move on.
Yeah, he loved Mac Jones coming out of school. That's a really interesting one to me. It doesn't sound like much, but Purdy and Rudolph moves intrigued me to no end today.
Yeah. In fact, if
or the Mac Jones.
Mac Jones was the guy I was looking at, if you didn't get these guys and some of the backups that have been signed over the last day. I'm like, well, Mac Jones wouldn't be bad as a backup.
No, I mean, I wish he moved better. I mean, he has his warts, but he played pretty well for the Jags in a tough situation. Played really well in a rookie as a really tough situation. I think he's going to have a successful career, and he might be this year's Sam Darnold. Where it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. Anyways, so the Steelers making it official with Malik Harrison, with I got to think of all the names now. Brandon Eccles.
Okay, so all those guys
they're all now officially Steelers.
In Pittsburgh.
Darius Slay. Who am I missing here? I said
Metcalf,
and the running back Kenneth Gainwell.
Oh, Gainwell too. Okay.
Or as he said today, just call me Kenny G.
Kenny G. Okay, nice. I like it.
Smooth jazz.
Okay, good. I think these are all quality pickups. We've broken them all down. I looked more into Eccles because that happened like real close when we were on the air. Interesting. I mean, if you know the Jets corner situation, it was Reed and Sauce on the outside, and I should remember his name off the top of my head. But their slot is a really good slot too.
He's
a really good player.
Yeah.
I forget his name. But 2 weeks
wasn't Michael Carter,
Yeah. And Carter. There's been a couple Michael Carters in the league, and two of them were drafted the same year by the Jets, which makes me happy. But anyway, Eccles 2 years ago played a ton of slot, hardly at all outside. Last year he played very little slot and a lot outside, and every year he's played a lot of teams. So he's going to help you somewhere,
right?
He's going to help you somewhere.
And he's an extreme athlete,
and he's an extreme athlete. Again, not a terrible cost. I think he's an upgrade over Beanie day one, as your slot, but doesn't prohibit you from finding a safety type slot that you like, or he could get you out of a game for sure, or start games on the outside. And frankly, we talk a lot about outside versus slot, et cetera, et cetera. The thing is, you kind of have to be able to do both. I mean, in this league, if you're only an outside corner and are not comfortable near the line of scrimmage, do you know what McVay and Shanahan do? They motion the receiver so you're close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
You can't just stand out there outside the numbers guarding nobody. That's
not
how this
way.
works.
Yeah.
So the slot outside thing is something we stress a lot, and it's true, but you got to do everything. And
you really do.
Yeah.
And they haven't had that potential there with that's why they went to Cam Sutton last year. It didn't necessarily work out.
But I understood the logic.
Yeah.
I mean, what he brought to the table, especially before he left, was something they were looking for. And I think Eccles should or looks like he could fill that role.
Yeah. So, they're not the earth-shattering moves I think a lot of people. I mean, Metcalf and Slay are.
Yeah. Slay's a big deal, too.
Yeah.
I thought he played really well last year. And the more I looked into Slay, the more I like that one.
Yeah.
Now, the track record of over 30 corners isn't great in this league. But get 1 year out of him as a mentor type, plays a lot of man. If he plays like he did last year, you'll be fine.
And you just got Eccles, who can also do that. You still have Corey Trice on the roster who can do that. So
drafting one's not out of the question either. I mean, I don't think first round pick, but a day 2 or day 3 guy I think is possible.
Yeah, I think defensive line. I think they take day 1 defensive lineman, day 2 defensive lineman, and right now they only have 2 picks on day 1 and 2. Day 1 and day 2. Because that's the one spot that they haven't been able to address yet.
And they actually lost a guy.
And people are, why haven't they done that? We don't know how much you're paying your quarterback yet.
Mm-hmm.
You might have an idea, but the difference between what you're going to pay Rodgers or what you're going to pay Russ don't necessarily that affects what you spend.
I know
on a big ticket item.
And they're definitely going to draft a back, and I think they're going to draft D-line a lot. That's the one thing I kind of wish they had was a Hargrave or an Allen or somebody like that. If you could turn back time and throw one of them on the team, you'd be a little more comfortable as it stands now. But the rookie class is good.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And I was fiddling with a mock. Like, I don't think it's crazy that Nolan or Grant is there in the first round. I mean, I think that could happen.
Yeah, even if you traded down, you're probably a good chance you get one of those guys because it is so deep, much like the running back position, where teams may say, you know what? I like these guys, but I like 7 of them.
Yeah.
But we need an offensive lineman.
Badly,
or I like this.
right.
I like these guys. I like 7 of them, but we need a cornerback.
Yeah.
Or we need a wide receiver.
Edge guys, I think, will go reasonably quick as well. And, I hear you. So I definitely think running back and especially D-line are massive draft priorities, for where they sit now. And I don't know if they'll draft a quarterback at all.
I mean, I could say taking a late one. I don't know that, Skylar Thompson isn't guaranteed any spot.
No. Right.
Again, so when you don't have one per se, or you don't have a long-term answer at quarterback, I'm on board for drafting one every year.
I certainly am for where they're at, and I like a lot of those guys too. As early as round 2-ish, I
can't go round 2.
I would not be in round.
Well, they don't have a round. They don't have.
Well,
a round
I know
pick.
as it stands right to second, but if it were Dart or Shuck, wherever you have to pay for them, I wouldn't mind having those guys around. I'm not paying up for Sanders though.
No.
Nor am I interested in him at 21.
Yeah. Let's say worst case scenario happens here. Let's say Rodgers decides to sign with the Giants,
retires,
or the Vikings, or retires, or whatever.
Yeah.
He's not available.
Right.
Russ takes one of the other spots.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is there. But if that also happens, do the Giants, let's say the Giants fill their spot, do they still take Ward number 1?
I don't think they're not going to move to 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do they trade up to number 1?
The more I look at the Titans, I think they're not even open for business.
Doesn't look like it.
I think they take Ward.
It's certainly looking that way.
And they're going to take Ward.
Yeah.
And I think now the Giants are the team I think that's struggling. Now what do? We thought we could maybe get involved there. Their owners basically said you have to get a quarterback. That's when mistakes are made. Do you take Sanders at 3, even though he's your 20th best player?
I think they wait until the top of the second round to take one. That's why I don't think that Dart's not going to be there where the Steelers would have picked him round 2.
Right.
And I'm not taking him at 21.
I actually did a mock today, and I had Ward going to Tennessee, and then I cut and pasted almost the exact same sentence on purpose for the Browns, saying, well, Browns are going to take Abdul Carter, and then the second round they'll go for a quarterback, or something like that. And I said the exact same thing for the Giants, too.
See, I think that the Kenny Pickett trade could take them out of the market for a young quarterback.
I don't know what they think of him, but
they could they could punt it to next year.
I think that would be smart.
Get through this year, spend the year working with Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
His contract's up at the end of this year. You'll see what you have. You could be in that Justin Fields situation. If he has to play this year for you and does, I mean, nobody's going to do great with that Cleveland team this year. But if he does okay and you say there's enough there that we can move forward, you re-sign him to a mid-level deal, and then you can still draft one.
It's not terrible. I would think that there's going to be a Cousins involved or something on that team.
Well, they're going to sign somebody else.
It's odd to me that Wilson's was even there today because I don't know how they can afford $20+ million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to play for 10.
Yeah.
Russ,
Well, he might, if you don't have a job,
right?
Any job is good, and he still wants to play.
But what's a Winston or asking for now? Probably half of what he did a week ago.
Yeah.
I mean, just think of other options. Back to if Rodgers and Wilson can't or won't be Steelers, I would look to Cousins. I would looked into the Carr situation with the Saints, although I think they have no self-awareness of where they're at. But they restructured Carr's contract just so they could get cap compliant, of course. But he's like an $85 million cap hit a year from now. He costs if they were to trade him, it has to be after June 1.
After June 1st, yeah.
And he costs a new team like nothing.
Yeah.
Because he got all his signing bonus, there's everything up front. I could live with Rudolph and Carr.
He could be the guy who ends up in Cleveland.
Could be. Because Cousins and Carr could cost the new teams nothing.
Because it looks like Atlanta is willing at this point to pay the $10 million roster bonus to Cousins.
Yeah.
And hold him for now.
Yeah, they don't have to move anytime soon.
Right.
I wonder if you were to make a Cousins deal, could you say, we'll give you the 7th-round pick or 6th-round pick or whatever. Let's split his salary. You pick up half of it. I'm not even saying for the Steelers, for the Browns or whatever the new he's not going to be a Falcon, I don't think.
Yeah.
But they could take him up to camp.
Well, the Browns have a bunch of picks.
They have picks, yeah.
And so I think that's what Atlanta's hoping for. Like, hey, we're not going to just cut him free and pay him to go play for them. If
they cut him, it's a Russell Wilson.
Yeah, if we're gonna do this, they're gonna have to trade us something.
Yeah, I think that's
and they've
what they're
got
holding
11
on
draft
to.
picks, and I think that
Right.
hey, even if it's a 5, it's a 5.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah,
but if
'cause
someone
we're
was
eating this thing one way or the other,
if someone was willing to take the contract now,
then it's a 7.
Take whatever. Yeah, just give me anything. Swap future picks. They would love that. I can't imagine anyone doing that.
No.
We're just going to eat the contract.
No.
Certainly not the Browns. They can't.
Right.
The Steelers could, but I don't think that's good business.
Yeah.
But if you could say take half of it, maybe. It's not great.
No.
Yeah,
No, it's not ideal. But again, this is where you're at when you don't have a franchise quarterback. We went through all the lists of the various quarterbacks the Steelers rolled through in the 80s and early 90s, and on the message board, they went to 9 AFC I don't know if it was 9, but they did go to AFC championships, and they went to a Super Bowl
during that year.
During that 21-year span.
Yeah.
And, we're going to compare that to what they're currently doing now. Look, all I've ever heard for many years, and I disagree with it, as I disagree with the other premise on this side of it, but Bill Cowher went to his early success with Chuck Noll's guys.
Yeah.
And Mike Tomlin had his early success with Bill Cowher's guys. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And you're going to inherit people on the roster.
Everybody
you don't come
does.
to every new coach that got hired this year didn't go to a roster of 0 people on it.
Right.
But
the one thing that the early 90 teams that Cowher inherited, they did a good job of drafting and filling spots, and free agency had just started, so you added Kevin Green, you had guys that, and they competed despite the quarterback, but they still only made one Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, there were 9 AFC championships in there, 9, but you made one Super Bowl. And it's a hell of a lot tougher right now in the AFC.
No, it is. There's no question.
to get to the AFC championship, because you've got 4 stud quarterbacks in the freaking conference.
Yeah. I mean, there were good quarterbacks then, but the 4 best guys weren't in the same conference.
Like for the early 90s, you were penciling the Bills were 4 straight years.
Yeah.
But who were the other good teams at that point in the AFC? There was a reason why those Bills teams were there every year.
So dominant,
and then the Steelers took over that spot and still didn't, in 1994, didn't make the Super Bowl. They got upset as a double-digit favorite at home by the Chargers.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have a quarterback.
Which would have sure helped. Yeah, absolutely.
You got to have the quarterback.
Yeah. And you got to turn every rock over to try to find them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what they're doing.
Even in those games, I covered all those AFC championship games from 93 on. I was at every single one. Who did they lose to in those games?
Brady.
Other than Stan Humphries.
Right.
You lost to Brady. You lost to Elway. You lost to
then you look at the quarterbacks that have multiple rings in history. They're the best guys.
Yeah.
Obviously. Right.
Like it sure helps to have the quarterback.
It sure helps.
If you don't have the quarterback, you better have a damn good roster. And even that doesn't guarantee you anything. The 95 team made it there because the Colts couldn't complete a Hail Mary.
I mean, it was darn
the ball
close
was
to
on
happen.
Aaron Bailey's chest.
Right.
If the ball doesn't roll off of Aaron Bailey's chest.
I remember my heart was in my throat. I mean, it was like, I thought he caught it. Right.
Yeah.
Watching on TV.
I was on the field for that. And everybody in that stadium just went,
wow. Yeah.
Did that just happen?
Yep.
Yeah. So, if you have the quarterback, it makes it so much easier.
Well, that's no question, gets you in the dance or gets you in the conversation.
You're competing every year in and year out if you have the quarterback. If you don't have the quarterback, the people that say that Mike Tomlin, who's taken this team to the playoffs in 4 of the last 5 years with no quarterback, with 5, it's going to be this year 5 different, a 5th starting quarterback in the last 5 seasons, and you've made the playoffs every year?
Yeah.
I know we were talking yesterday about this and said, well, they're more the Colts right now than they are the Browns.
Yes. Okay.
They're closer to the Colts than they are the Browns. The Colts weren't making the playoffs and haven't made the playoffs with their string of retread quarterbacks that they've been running out there.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they have not been a successful organization with those guys.
They've been okay. They've been mediocre.
They've been okay.
They've been a mediocre. They've been
team,
a 7 to 8 win, 6 sometimes 6, but maybe they get to 9 on this year. Steelers have been in the playoffs 4 of the last 5 years.
And maybe this sounds extreme, but if they had to go with Rudolph all year, I still might think they're a top 7 AFC team.
We went over that last week.
If the defense can be dominant, and if they can run the ball 4.3 yards a carry, not 4.0,
we know Mike Tomlin knows how to win games like that. They're going to win. They'll win in the margins. They'll win on special teams. They'll win with the defense. They'll run the football.
They made some special teams adjustments and stuff too, and some additions. So, I mean, even if it's Rudolph all year long, I don't think this is a 4-win team. I guess is my point.
It's just not a fun way to live.
It's brutal. It's brutal, and it's a hard way to be a fan too. I mean,
I get it.
I mean, I think the fans are a little spoiled. They're a little testy right around now, but I feel for them in those kind of games. I mean, when every game's down to getting this bounce or this kick or whatever, it's tough. I mean, there's no question.
Try living in my shoes. I got to write a game story off of these things that immediately, as soon as the clock hits 0, I got to have a game story up on Steelers.com.
Right. So you write a paragraph, delete it. Write a paragraph, delete it.
These games are going down. Oh, did they get this defensive stop? No. The Cincinnati playoff game in 2016. I had 5 different stories written.
Really?
I mean, I had 2 columns going.
Yeah.
Because, again, at that, Marvin, I was still at the Observer Reporter. Marvin Lewis was a Washington County guy. If he won that playoff game, it was his first playoff win. I got to write, look at it's so good for Marvin.
Right.
I had the Steelers win column, Steelers lose column,
or
Bengals win column.
But it happened to be a Bengal game with Marvin.
And those things all had to be in at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
All hell broke loose at about 10:45 in that game when Ben goes trotting off. And then,
so I mean, it's getting fouled at 11 no matter what.
No matter, like this is deadline. This is when the deadline. Like you can't push deadline.
Yeah.
Like, all right, what do I got here? And Ben left the field. He's hurt. Oh boy. They can't get a first down. Landry Jones throws the interception. All right. Steelers lost the playoff game.
Right, that version.
The fumble.
Scratch that.
Right. Roethlisberger comes trotting back out of the out of the tunnel. Oh, Ben's going back in. Doesn't go back in. Then all of a sudden he does. They get the Antonio Brown play. And they move the ball down. They kick the field goal and win. I'm like,
it's almost 11 o'clock.
I almost had a heart attack.
I can imagine. Like,
it was beating 1,000. And that ended at like 10:59. Boom! There. Don't even know what I wrote.
Yeah, I say you can't even proofread it. Yeah, right.
20,000 words on that game, of which we used 2,000.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah,
that's how it goes. Like, oh, what is your stressful job? Yeah, it's a stressful job sometimes. Yeah, it can be. It can be. Yep, deadlines are deadlines.
Yep.
Like, it's costing the company money if my story isn't in at that minute.
People pick up paper. They want to read about.
They want to read about. They don't want to read tomorrow's paper about
the game that happened 3 minutes ago.
Read Tuesday's paper about Sunday's playoff game. Doesn't work that way.
I'm not subscribing anymore. Right.
Yeah. So, that's the life of a sports writer. But, I mean, you got to have the quarterback.
Yeah, and I don't know what that path is. I mean, I am intrigued with Rodgers on the field, what he could be.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely intriguing. And I think the ceiling's the highest of all those names we mentioned. If someone were to have lead you to playoff victories, I think it would be Rodgers of that group. But you can't wait around forever for the guy either.
You can't wait forever.
Right.
Yeah, you have to somebody needs to fly to Malibu.
Is that where he's at the moment?
That's where he's at. That's where the pictures were at from yesterday.
He's on the beach.
Fly to Malibu. While he's walking on the beach, walk out and draw a line in the sand. Say, Aaron, there's your line in the sand. We got to know.
Walk over it or not. Right.
Yeah.
Here's a contract on one side of it, and there's a flight back to Pittsburgh on the other or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's a ticket. If you want it, it's yours. If not, I'm getting on.
Now. Yeah. Right. The tide's coming in to erase this line in the sand. I'm leaving.
Big guys, the sun's getting low.
Yeah. We got to go.
We got to go. Anyways.
We got to go.
We're going to take a break. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And, Justin Miller brought up a good point here, our producer, that Aaron Rodgers was seen with the earbuds walking on the beach yesterday. Had his ear, listening to something. He was listening to The Drive.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Probably.
As he walked on the beach and decided whether he
As everyone should be.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, so, Matt, I'm looking here at a list of the still available defensive tackles.
Yeah.
That are available right now. Now, this could change given this draft, too, this year.
You mean in terms of people getting released and going to the draft? Right. I don't know who those names would be.
I don't know who those ones are yet at this point, or somebody could become available via trade because, we didn't think this guy was going to be there, but we drafted this guy.
In the second round, we didn't plan on taking it. Right.
But right now, you've got Raekwon Davis of the Colts.
Okay.
Austin Johnson of the Bills. John Jenkins of the Raiders. Jerry Tillery of the Vikings. Linval Joseph, who was with Dallas last year. Lakey Fotu, who was with the Jets. Jonathan Hankins. Derek Nandi. He was with the Chiefs. Taven Bryan, another Colt. Jeremiah Ledbetter, who was with Jacksonville. Maurice Hurst, who was with Cleveland. Benito Jones, who was with the Dolphins. There's a bunch of names on here.
None of them are blowing my skirt up, though.
There are a lot of these guys are the old style.
There's the
nose tackle
types, right?
That I'll play till I'm 45 years old because all I got to do is be big and eat up blocks.
Calais Campbell,
he's listed as a defensive
end. I don't know what
end.
they list him at, but he would also be a big guy. You know?
And I wouldn't be opposed to that.
No, he can still play. Those other names you mentioned to me don't really move the needle, unless you want to just take Linval Joseph and play 15 to 18 snaps a game as a anchor in the middle of your defense, and he'll do that for as long as he wants.
Yeah,
there's a couple names like that on the list that wouldn't be expensive. Campbell changes games, though. I mean, Campbell's interesting to me. I would not play him a ton. It wouldn't prohibit me from drafting Nolan or Harmon or whoever you like, but just get him in the mix and be better on game day.
Yeah. There's some defensive ends out there. Most of them are too light to play in the Steelers in the Steelers scheme, I should say. But Campbell is one that definitely, fits.
Oh, he could be the Cam Hayward-ish type guy,
outside of that,
it's not great.
Charles Omenihu.
He's more of an edge.
Yeah, he's more of an edge.
Bigger edge, but he's more of an edge.
Bigger edge, but I'm just looking here.
I'm curious who could be had via trade or is cut candidates, because I'm sure that list is better.
Yeah,
and
right.
You have to do some homework and really dig around.
Again, somebody drafts somebody they didn't expect to get, or they find, we're not going to need this guy.
Yeah,
Again, the Steelers have extra picks in next year's draft. You could get the camp.
That could happen well off the draft. Yeah.
And it just happens organically. But I don't necessarily love what's out there right now on the open market.
No, and I said it last segment. That's one thing I wish they would have had one guy, something in the bird in the hand in there that position as it stands.
But I do think that with the release of Larry Ogunjobi, they're moving Keanu Benton to defensive end.
Oh, I think so too, and I think that makes them better. And I think it's good for Benton. It's good for everybody. I assume he'll be right next to Cam as the nickel package, interior in the front four.
He was last year.
Yeah, I know, but I think it'll be his job, full time. And he can still bump in the nose and all those things. But draft is great, but you count on rookies; they don't always, shine snap after snap either. I mean, a veteran that you can count on would have some appeal.
Well, they still do have some veteran depth on the defensive line, and it's not necessarily ideal, but they're going to add to it. But I mean, if you look at that depth chart, you got Logan Lee, you got Dean Lowry, Montravius Adams.
Yeah.
So they've they typically have six in Benton and Hayward.
You're not going to call Leal part of that group. He's kind of like his own position at this point.
He could be, though.
Yeah.
Like,
I wonder what he weighs nowadays and what the plan is for him.
But they told him to start eating some damn sandwiches or something.
Right. I don't love him as an edge.
And he was 285 pounds. It's not like he can't do that job. Maybe he's not your 3-4 defensive end.
Right.
But he could be your rotational guy in your nickel and dime.
Yeah, that's what I assume his role is.
But you have Lowry who can be.
Yes. I do think they're high on Logan Lee.
Yeah.
I didn't love how Adams played post-injury.
Yeah.
But I've been quite impressed with him for the rest of his Steelers stint. And maybe he came back too early. Maybe there's more to that story than I know. But I thought he's a quality depth piece that you can live with, you know.
Well, so that one, he's a perfect example of a guy who was highly drafted, third-round draft pick.
Superstar recruit. And it took him a few years to figure it out. They signed him off of New Orleans practice squad. Yeah, and got a lot out
during
of him
COVID.
for that, right?
Yeah, and so you can find some guys like that who can be valuable pieces for you. They don't have to all be $10 million a year players.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's.
But I'd like to have the next Cam in place,
without question.
Without
question. And by the way, I mean, the massive elephant in the room is what if Cam gets hurt?
Right.
I mean, then you're in trouble. You know, as it stands today.
Then you are signing the next Montravius Adams and
hoping for the best and hoping for the prey. And I mean, then they play a lot of snaps, and you don't have Hayward out there doing what he does. I don't love where they're at there right now. I mean, I really don't. And
they got to add to it. That's what the draft is for.
Right. And I wish there were more veteran type options. You know, the Hargrave type guys. But there might be a name that pops up. I think there will be.
I will guarantee there'll be names that pop up. This guy's. We just can't afford to carry that contract.
Or someone wants a new deal or a trade or a salary dump or things like that.
We drafted this guy in the 6th round and he's better than what we thought. Mm-hmm. We want to keep him.
You're talking about post draft.
Yeah.
Oh, that stuff will definitely happen. I'm thinking in the next couple of weeks.
We're looking at this, or you take these guys through OTAs and you go, okay, we drafted this guy in the 6th round. We've got 5 defensive tackles or 6 defensive tackles. We're only keeping 5.
Mm-hmm. We can turn one into a pick or whatever.
We can turn this guy into a pick. He's expensive. We like the young guy. We want to keep him to develop. You trade that guy away.
I mean, the beauty of where the Steelers sit is they have a lot of picks a year from now, and they have a ton of cap space. I mean, so they can be the team that
is aggressive.
Okay, maybe he isn't worth $10 million a year. Maybe he's an $8 million player. But for where we're at, we'll give him the 10 for the year.
Quite frankly, that could be an end of training camp cut.
True.
I mean,
assuming you've drafted one or two. I think we're both assuming that.
But it's also
I'm not living with the names you just had.
It's the defensive line. Like you're not asking these guys to go out there. I mean, as Casey Hampton once said, I go left, I go right.
In terms
of 2
plays, adjusting to the scheme and all that. Oh,
I got 2 plays. I go left, I go right.
Yeah, right. No, I that's not a hard position to add and get them ready.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so, they're going to add something to that. It's not going to be the big ticket item, at least not in free agency. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean it
I
won't be.
wonder I'm going to have to start thinking about teams that might have added a free agent who was there before that you could snag off them or is making a little more than they should. Or, I mean, you could even get down to trade deadline when the bad teams are just dumping the Christian Wilkins of the world.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that type of thing.
I mean, I'm looking at, there's some teams right now, like, say, the 49ers, who just seem to be letting everybody walk out the door.
Right. It's funny. I do a show with a 49ers host, and we're always talking about, man, our 2 teams are just racking up comp picks left and right. And he kind of says the same thing. It's like, everybody's leaving, but they're guys we kind of knew would leave. None of them was like, oh, no, we meant to keep that guy. And so you get a lot of comp picks, but Najee leaving or Ogunjobi being cut were kind of things you saw coming.
Right.
These are
not
just the
surprises.
way it goes. Right.
None of that surprises. But
Mike Williams signed today. Apparently, agreed to terms.
Back with the Chargers, it's $6 million.
Yeah, it was more than I thought too.
Yeah. I'm just looking here at the depth chart on our lads.
Okay.
So here's what it looks like as we sit here right now. Again, 2 days into free agency.
Right. Draft is 40 days away or whatever.
We'll go with the offense first. So you got George Pickens, DK Metcalf.
Okay.
They just reportedly signed Scotty Miller back. That doesn't move the needle.
I didn't even hear that.
Yeah.
But
you got
glad he's at camp. Right.
You got Roman Wilson. You got Calvin Austin. you're probably going to add something else to that. You get 5 receivers under contract.
I'd still call Skoranek.
Yeah.
And then you'll add something to that.
Yeah.
That room's not.
That's not done being built yet. Your offensive line, Broderick Jones, Isaac Seumalo, Zach Frazier, Mason McCormick, Troy Fautanu. We knew that. That's all basically returning starters, or in the case of Fautanu, a first-round pick from last year.
Yeah.
You still have Spencer Anderson. You brought back Ryan McCollum. You got they're wrong on some of this.
I'm not sure where Cook fits in.
They still have Spencer Anderson.
Mm-hmm. I would call Herbig still.
Yeah. That won't be a massive deal.
No, right. And I'd like to get a tackle.
At quarterback, tight end, you've got Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, and Connor Hayward, along with the guy they signed from the Chargers, who's not on here for some reason.
Parham.
Donald Parham. Quarterback right now, you've got Mason Rudolph, of when he actually signs his contract.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not official yet.
Running back is Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, Cordell Patterson. Now, I don't expect necessarily Cordell Patterson to be here a month from now.
I think he's probably the only name on there that I think is probably still on the chopping
But you don't
block,
do that
right?
until you get a replacement in the draft, probably. Defensively, you've got Dean Lowry, Keanu Benton, Cam Hayward, Logan Lee, Montravius Adams on your defensive line. At outside linebacker, you got T.J. Watt, you got Alex Highsmith, you got Nick Herbig. They list Leal
so
there,
where they put
but
Leal,
Leal should be listed as with the defensive lineman. And Malik Harrison can play inside or outside.
Yeah. And then there's
So you're pretty set there.
Yeah, I would say, do you think you even add an edge guy? I mean, I'm sure Moon will be in the mix again.
They could, but they don't have to.
It could be like your last round pick if he has special teams capabilities or.
At inside backer, you got Queen and Wilson, Cole Holcomb, Mark Robinson, and again, Malik Harrison.
Yeah, I think you're done there.
You're pretty set at linebacker.
Yeah, I think you're done there.
Cornerback. Well, now you have Darius Slay.
You could be done here.
Joey Porter Jr., Brandon Eccles. You still have Beanie Bishop. You still have Corey Trice. I mean, you got 5 NFL cornerbacks
you have
on
5
your roster.
that are likely to make the team.
You could add another veteran dude.
Wouldn't break my heart, right?
At a veteran minimum, it's not going to be break the bank. And at safety, you've got Deshaun Elliott, Minka Fitzpatrick, Miles Killebrew, and Ryan Watts.
Yeah, I still have high hopes for Watts. Yeah, I mean, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 plus draft guys added, don't you think, between now and opening camp?
3 or 4.
3 or 4 vets of some sort.
Oh, they're going to still
maybe more than that, plus draft picks.
Yeah,
added to that mix.
Yeah,
between now and then, maybe more. Yeah.
So
there's definitely a quarterback.
Right.
Some of those positions just need more people too.
Yeah, so they're gonna continue to add to this, and it could be some of the guys, some of their own free agents, could be somebody from outside. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see Brandon Eccles coming. I didn't see Gainwell coming. 2 days ago, I was like, man, I would have never saw those type of moves on the horizon. And so there'll be a couple of those, I bet, in the next 24, 48 hours too.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're not done yet. They're not. It's not over.
No, it's not.
Again, there's probably still 550 NFL free agents,
players
guys who played in the league last year,
right?
who are going to play again this year, who are still out there, who are going to, be the next Scotty Miller and the next guy who, people, why would you re-sign Scotty Miller? Well, he's an NFL player.
Yeah, and people get hurt, and you might need him around.
Yeah, if he's your backup slot, okay.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I don't want him being.
No, he could make the team or a team.
Yeah.
There's no question.
So let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, to the point that we were just talking about guys getting cut loose at this point. For example, David Andrews getting released by the Patriots.
Long-time starting center.
Long-time center, team captain, all that kind of stuff.
Has had a good career.
He can decide. He's 32 years old. He can decide if he wants to continue playing or not. The Vikings cutting center Garrett Bradbury.
Yeah, former first-round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, they signed Kelly, and that's a perfect example. Like, Bradbury's a certain type of center. I mean, he is an extreme mover. You know, like he tested great at the combine. He went like the first round, but he doesn't handle Casey Hampton's well.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you see him out on a screen, it's like, I want that.
He can start for somebody in this league.
And I bet there's some teams and schemes that say, oh, I'll take that mobile center that can pull and get out and do things like that, you know? So and he'll get employed quick, I bet. And
the Houston Texans are just traded for guard Ed Ingram with the Vikings.
Oh, did they?
He was, again, another starter for the Vikings. That, hey, we're going to get a draft. Like, they
reworked their entire interior
2026 sixth-round draft pick. Like, these are the kind of deals that are available to be made now.
And Ingram will probably, just thinking off the top of my head, they got rid of Mason. They got rid of Green, the first-round pick. Ingram's probably a starter for the Texans now. So you picked up a starting guard for a sixth-round pick, you know?
Yeah. The Vikings went out and signed 2 defensive tackles, Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've got other guys who were
the dudes that were there too.
The dudes that were there, like
right. They're making a lot of roster moves.
Yeah. So you start looking.
This stuff keeps happening. Is the point. Right.
There's going to be a continued churn of the rosters, and just because a guy didn't work in this system or that system doesn't mean that he can't work in your system.
Right. And I know this isn't Steeler relevant, but Trey Hendrickson could get traded any minute. You know what I mean? Like there's still a couple big name dudes that could be floating around too.
Yeah, so you just don't know what's going to happen until it happens sometimes. I mean, we had talked about the Steelers potentially trading for DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was, on anybody's, wow, the Steelers, it's kind of, when it did happen, it was like, whoa, the Steelers traded for DK Metcalf,
Along the receiver lines, would you have any interest in Amari Cooper, Kupp, Diggs, former Pro Bowler type guys?
Not unless I'm trading George Pickens.
Yeah. Kupp is the one, just I think Kupp's slot only at this stage.
Yeah.
The other guys would be, more in Pickens, wheelhouse and maybe disruptive too. They're some of the biggest names out there.
Yeah. They're going to play for somebody.
They're going to play for somebody. Yeah. But they have their warts and they have age, and I'm sure they want, more money than, Hopkins got $5 million. I'm sure they want
Mike
more.
Williams got $6 million.
That shocked me too. I thought he'd get less than that.
Yeah.
I thought he was a 3 or 4 type guy.
But
they needed him
for
bad.
whatever reason, teams pay for wide receivers more than they're willing to pay for, say, a running back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I get it. The running back has more wear and tear on him, but they're equally valuable to your
especially
offense.
if it's a 1-year deal. What's the difference?
Right.
Yeah. Right. I think Williams is on a 1-year, $6 million deal.
Yeah.
And I don't know if other teams would have done that. Herbert probably likes them. The familiarity with the organization. They've been shut out a little bit on receivers. They
really
Palmer.
did get they've done some other stuff that's been good, but they got shut. They
got shut out.
They got the Steelers treatment this year with their wide receiver group,
big time, and didn't add a tight end. The pass catchers, they didn't add anything.
Yeah, so you start to look at what teams are possibly going to do in the draft. You go, okay, well, they got to add a wide receiver. They have to.
They have to. There's a couple teams that really haven't either done much or didn't get things they should need. Like Miami comes to mind.
The Patriots offensive.
Yeah, right.
They got shut out.
Dallas has done nothing for 2 free agency terms in a row. They traded for 3 former first-round picks, none of whom are good. Like Kenneth Murray and dudes like that. Javonte Williams, who looks pretty shot. That's the kind of moves they're making. I was asked today about the Dolphins. I looked at all their additions. I'm like, They picked up Westbrook Akine. That's probably my favorite move besides James Daniels, who's coming off a big injury. That's all they've done, and they lose Holland, and they lose a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so
these teams are pretty stagnant right now.
We get to the end of next week, we'll take a look at kind of the smoke clearing before the reset, because you'll see things will slow down towards the end of next week. We'll go down to the owners' meetings. We'll see some signings happen down there.
Things will start popping again a little bit down there too. Right.
Teams will start talking.
Some rumors. And, right.
And that kind of stuff.
That's soon, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll be there.
That's always a good time.
Yep. West Palm Beach this year.
It's not this upcoming week, but the week after.
The week after, yeah.
We'll be doing shows from there.
We'll have a Sunday show that week. And
nice.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday down there. Then we're back here Wednesday.
Gotcha.
We don't miss this. We got 6 shows. 6 shows 2 weeks from now.
Cool.
So that'll be fun.
From a pretty nice spot.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I don't know where we'll be broadcasting at there. But
that's on my department.
I think the last time we were down at West Palm Beach, if I remember correctly, their radio row was outside.
Really?
They have the Breakers is a fantastic hotel.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a legendary one,
But
right? Yeah.
They don't necessarily allow the media into the hotel.
You guys could have
You could go into the hotel. I misspoke. You can go into the hotel.
but we're not setting up shop there.
But, yeah, the media room and everything aren't in the actual hotel.
Yeah, the pool or the pond. The
it was
pond
on
would be
the-
good for you.
It was on the
right.
front lawn. Yeah,
Yeah.
the pond, you're in the pond.
Right.
And they had big tents set up with sides on them and stuff and air conditioning. But you're on the front lawn, and outside of the tents, there were like 5 or 6 radio
Okay.
shows set up.
And
So
probably
I assume
more this year. I mean,
I assume that's where we'll be at. Hopefully it doesn't rain.
because Jerry Jones and Mr. Kraft and all those guys are on the inside.
Yeah.
Got it.
But it's a beautiful site.
But it's a nice pond.
Yeah. Put a pond.
Yeah.
Pond will be good. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I'll be back with hour number 2 of The Drive right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And as we speak, Darius Slay speaking to the media
nice.
over on the south side. We are here in our lovely confines of our DV studio here in Bridgeville.
Were you down there today?
Yeah.
Were you? Did
Yeah.
you happen to bump into DK Metcalf? I can't
No,
wait
he
to see
wasn't
him
in
in
yet.
person.
He
That's
wasn't in
why I
yet.
asked.
Yeah, he
'cause
was.
I bet he is as freaky. I remember seeing T.O. in person when I was with the Browns, like as close as we are. I was like, good.
I remember
Lord.
seeing him.
I thought
I
he
saw
looked
him
like
on
a
the
cartoon
podium
character,
at the combine the year he came out.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he looked like a cartoon character. I bet DK does too.
Anyway, so let's do a little mock draft today on the Pro Football Network to
We haven't used
mix
theirs.
things up a little bit here. And we're up at pick 21 here. The top players available,
We're
Matt.
just the team as is plus a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Wilson or
We're assuming a quarterback.
Rodgers
yeah.
is the guy. Okay.
So Jalen Walker is there. Derek Harmon is there. Nick Emuwari is there. Jihad Campbell. Siobhan Ravel, Josh Simmons, Colston Loveland, Emeka Egbika, Luther Burden, Tyleek Williams, Walter Nolan, Donovan Azareku, Gray Zabel, Kenneth Grant. Wow, low on Kenneth Grant. Amarian Hampton. We have a trade offer. We have a couple of trade offers. And remember,
3D lineman I like in Hampton.
we don't have a second-round pick
I
right
know.
now.
I'm really apt to trading down.
Yeah. So I'm going to look at those trade
But
offers.
it wouldn't break my heart to take Grant here either.
No, it would not.
No, I mean, he's a really good player.
The Vikings are on the phone. They're offering us their pick number 24. Okay, I'm interested.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
But all they want to give up is their 2026 fourth-round draft pick. That ain't getting it done, Vikings.
No, that's not enough to move
the
three
problem with
spots.
the Vikings is they don't have
They
a
don't have
second
a 2 or
pick.
3.
Right.
They don't even have a 3, right.
So
I mean, I would do that for a 3 even, probably.
yeah,
But they're hard to deal with.
I can't do that.
Right. No, we can't talk to them.
Yeah. So right now we have to stick and pick.
Grant?
It's Grant.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I don't care where their rankings have these guys because, again,
No, I don't either.
don't get caught up in the rankings, folks, on these different websites because after you get past the first 10 to 12 players,
They can kind of be all over
throw
the
a
place.
blanket over
Yeah.
the next 60 guys because they're all going to be graded very similarly.
That's why I never care about the final grades after we mock
No.
either. You know, right.
No, Kenneth Grant is the pick, but we don't have a second-round draft pick. Now, I'm going to pause here.
Okay.
We're at 43. San Francisco's up with their pick. Amarian Hampton is still there.
I say, is there a back? Is there a Henderson or a Hampton?
Yeah. Hampton, I'm going to just call up the running backs here. Here's what's still available. Hampton, Quinshawn Junkins, Travion Henderson, DJ Giddens, Cam Scatabo, Bashal Tootin.
Those top 3 are way different than the other ones.
Yeah. Do I think about trying to come up? It's going to be costly to come up.
That's going to be a 3 in next year's 3 or more.
Yeah.
I mean, I would wait until 1 or 2 of those running backs falls.
Could happen quickly.
It could, but there's 3 there that would fit the bill.
Okay, I'm gonna hit restart here. We're gonna let
Okay.
this go a little bit more.
I know it can be hard to pause. And
We know the 49ers aren't taking a running back. That's kind of why I wouldn't think.
Right.
All right, I'm going to resume. I'm watching the running back list. Hampton just went.
Okay.
We're at 59. The Seahawks have the pick.
They won't take it.
Do we want to move up for Quinshawn Junkins?
What number do we have? In the
We don't
third
pick
round?
again until 84
Ooh.
or 83. I'm sorry. So we would be coming up 24 picks.
It's going to cost us next year's second.
Right, for a running back.
I'd say no.
Okay, I'm gonna let it roll a little bit longer here. Junkins just went. We're at 64 now, the last pick of the first round. Or second round, I should say.
Yeah.
Do we think the Eagles are going to take a running back? Probably not.
No. Henderson's still available.
Henderson's there. Giddens is available, and Scatabo is available.
Okay.
Bayshell Tootin, Ollie Gordon, Damian Martinez. It's a little bit of a drop-off.
There is.
Yeah.
I mean, Henderson stands alone to me.
Yeah.
But the Giddens and
Scatabo would be valuable in this.
Fine, yeah.
All right, I'm going to let it go again.
Yeah.
We're at 72. Henderson is still there. We now pick in 11 picks.
You're going to make an offer?
The Bears are on the clock.
They could take him.
They could take him.
I don't know what they took already. If they took Genty,
Right,
they wouldn't.
I have
we're not going to get
no
into
idea
that
either.
kind of research, but right.
At this point, I think you kind of let it ride. Henderson, to me, is kind of, now that you have Kenneth Gainwell on board, it's a little redundant.
You need a banger.
Yeah, it's a little redundant.
Right. I mean, I'm shocked he's there. And if you could give him the third round, wow. But who's your banger?
Yeah.
All right, let it ride. Let it ride.
All right.
And the only thing we have to offer is future picks, by the way.
We're at 78, and Henderson is still available.
What number are we at?
83.
Would you go next year's fourth to go to there? I think he's hang.
All right. I'm going to let it roll.
Is Scatabo still there?
He just went.
Scatabo just went.
No, Scatabo's still available.
Okay.
We do have a trade offer. Broncos want to give us 122 and a third next year for 83. I'm going to reject that.
Yeah.
Do we take Scatabo there?
Who else is available?
Giddens is there. Kevin Winston Jr., Tez Johnson. Jalen Royals is there. I'd be interested in him.
Mm-hmm.
Omar Norman Lott.
I was thinking more of a second D lineman.
Yeah. Jared Ivey. Shamar Turner. Well, I'll just look at the defensive line. We'll narrow this down a little bit. So you're looking at Norman Lott, Shamar Turner, Josh Farmer, C.J. West, Howard Cross, Jordan Phillips, Jamari Caldwell, J.J. Pegas, Riley Mills, Elijah Roberts, Simeon Barrow, Ty Robinson, Cam Jackson.
Okay, so
I think we can wait.
Farmer's my favorite of the D tackles or running backs, but there was 5 of those D tackles.
Yeah.
I think you take Scatabo now and Caldwell or Phillips or West should be there for your next pick.
Yeah.
We
got Grant. If we ended up with Ty Robinson, I'd be
fine with that too.
I'd be fine with that.
And I don't look at Grant. The beauty of him to me is
he could be either.
I can be I'll take Phillips here as a pure nose,
right? And
we'll figure out what to do with Grant. I mean, he can do Cam.
He could be our starting nose. That doesn't mean that 2 years from now he's our starting nose.
Or that him and West can't be on the field together.
Phillips could be the starting nose, and Grant kicks out the end.
Exactly. He can move him all over the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you take him at 21.
None of the wide receivers. You got Tez Johnson, Jalen Royals, Kyron Lacey. We should mention that the Steelers did
agreed to terms,
according to Ian Rappaport, with Ben Skoranek. So
great. I love that move for special teams, and I think he can
play offense.
To offense.
Yeah, he can play offense.
I think Scatabo's the pick, and then we can see what's there.
He will be.
He would get the ball a lot.
If this were the case, he would be a Steeler favorite. Between him and Jaylen Warren bouncing off of tacklers.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. Cam Scatabo is the pick. I see C.J. West just went. Okay. The Commanders are on the phone. We're up at 123. They want offer us pick 128 and 205 for 123. I'm going to reject that. Okay. We don't need it. All right, defensive tackle. Jordan Phillips, J.J. Pegas, Riley Mills, Elijah Roberts, Simeon Barrow, Aeneas Peebles, Ty Robinson, Cam Jackson, Tim Smith, Nazir Stackhouse, Yaha Black still there. There's still some nose tackles.
There's still a lot, yeah.
Still some nose tackles there.
And we don't have to take a nose either. We could take Robinson.
Yeah. We pick again at 156.
What receivers are floating around there? And I'd even consider a corner if it blew your doors off.
Caden Prather, Nick Nash, Theo Weiss, Kobe Hudson, Antoine Wells Jr., Dante Thornton. It's
nothing there.
Picked over. Yeah,
right. It's not a super deep position.
Offensive tackle, Belton is still there. Anthony Belton from NC State. Logan Brown from Kansas. Chase Lunt from UConn, Charles Grant from William & Mary.
I think I'd take one of those guys.
Which one do you like the best?
Belton.
Okay, we'll take Anthony Belton there. We can always find a place for another offensive lineman.
Yeah. He might be a guard too, or whatever.
He could be your swing guy.
Yeah, he's a big, powerful guy.
All right, we're back up now at 156.
Now I'd really stress D-line.
Okay, so the Seahawks are on the phone. They're offering us for 156 and a seventh next year, picks 172 and 185.
Sounds fine, unless there's only one or two D linemen out there that are.
I'm going to go ahead
exciting.
and look.
Right, yeah.
So, wow, Charles Grant is still there from William & Mary. That's
we just took one.
strange, but okay.
Nice to know.
Top players available: Demetrius Knight Jr., the linebacker from South Carolina; Dylan Gabriel, Charles Grant, Fadil Diggs, the edge rusher out of Syracuse; Malachi Moore, safety out of Alabama; J.J. Pegas is still there.
That would fit the bill.
Yeah. Riley Mills, the defensive tackle out of Notre Dame; Riley Leonard, the quarterback out of Notre Dame; Kyle McGonigal, running back from Rutgers; Seth McLaughlin, center from Ohio State; Elijah Roberts, defensive tackle from SMU. He's a little light.
Yeah.
More of an end in this defense.
I would say Pegas or make the trade.
Yeah, I'm just looking here at what's available. I think you take Pegas. Unless you, Yeah, Pegas is the pick.
Okay, I'm fine with it. He's in for a visit, and, he would be useful. Maybe your goal line fullback and
coming
stuff,
up
too.
to our final pick here. We could go
anywhere,
really.
Safety, corner, receiver, tight end, another running back.
I think a tight end.
A tight end probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but quarterback. There's not a position I would say absolutely not.
I would look at a quarterback in a big way at this point because we haven't taken one.
Right. Just fight Skylar Thompson for that third job.
Right. Is your developmental guy. Looking at what's available, well, Curtis Rourke is there.
I like that.
Max Brosmer is there. Brady Cook is there.
I would take any of those guys at that position. We're talking about the seventh round, right?
Taylor Elgersma is there.
I think the other guys are. Who knows? All I know about Elgersma is 3 days at the.
He would be a guy I would invite in as an undrafted rookie free agent.
Gladly.
Yeah.
To me, that
Let's
sounds
see what
wonderful.
he is. Yeah.
Right. Any of those dudes, if they don't get drafted, I would love to have.
Curtis Rourke, I would draft.
I would draft Rourke. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Curtis.
I think that's a pick. Yeah.
Curtis Rourke is the pick. Oh, we got another. I forgot we had 2 and a 2. So we got 229 still up here, and I'm going to reject that. We're not trading it. So Tyrion Ingram Dawkins is still there. Devin Neal, LaQuint Allen, running back. A lot of running backs still there. Jackson Haas, like him a lot.
Sign me up on that.
But he's another tight end. We need
I know.
Another tight end. Vernon Broughton.
I don't know if Parham's guaranteed to make the team. He didn't sign a huge deal.
No. Just looking here if there's anybody else that jumps out at me. Brandon Crenshaw Dixon is still there. Took him yesterday at the offensive tackle position. Trevor Etienne is your Stackhouse. Craig Woodson, the safety out of Cal.
After the Gainwell signing, I think 2 running backs is off the table now.
Yeah, I think that is the case.
We've done that a lot. I think they'll take 1 for sure, but I think 2 is not going to happen.
I don't even have a feeling one way or the other here from looking at some of these names.
I like Haas. I know tight end's not the biggest need in the world, but
I like the player.
Yeah, I like the player. That's the thing, right?
He's my sleeper tight end in this draft.
He's a hammer, man.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Jackson Haas it is.
He might be on the practice squad, but,
I might make him my fullback.
He's in block people. I know that.
Block people. He is a meathead. All right. So what we ended up with, and we didn't make a single trade.
No, we didn't, huh?
We had offers. We didn't do it, though.
We strongly considered it in round 1, but the Vikings were not the good partner.
Would have liked to have gotten a second-round pick back, which we did yesterday. Well, this is what it looks like if you don't do that.
Do a little thin.
So we ended up with Kenneth Grant at pick 21.
Which, hey, I would take that right now.
Yeah. Cam Scatabo at pick 83.
Okay. Now, it's not Hampton, but it's a good back that should get a lot of rookie carry.
Yeah. Anthony Belton at 123, the offensive tackle out of NC State.
After we didn't make the first, when we didn't get a second-round pick, I thought, we're probably not going to get a tackle. I thought that might be where we lose, and I was happy he was still there.
J.J. Pegas, our second defensive lineman at 156, the defensive nose tackle out of Ole Miss. At 223, we took Curtis Rourke.
Yeah.
quarterback out of Indiana. And at 229, we got Jackson Haas, the tight end, just blocker.
These are bonus prize. Yeah, he's a hammer.
Out of Georgia Tech.
I would take Rourke that late all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, that's super late in the draft. I think I'd consider him in the 5th round.
The only problem with Rourke is he's recovering from an ACL.
He played with it all year, right?
Played with it all year, but now he's had, I believe, surgery on it to repair it. So when is he going to get back on the football field? Well, you don't need him to this year.
You don't, but you'd love for him.
You'd like to.
You'd love for him to be in rookie minicamp. Right. Probably no chance.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
I think he said at the combine that he would be ready to go by hopefully training camp. Hopefully training camp.
For a rookie that's...
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that angle. I knew he played with it, but I didn't think about when it got repaired.
But it doesn't preclude you. He's a 7th-round quarterback. Doesn't keep you from taking one next year, and you might just put him on the practice squad.
He might be on IR for the year.
He's on PUP for the year.
Who knows, right. But I wouldn't mind him being at camp even if it's next year.
Right.
I mean, if you're a first-round quarterback,
he's in your meeting rooms all year long. He's learning from whoever. And
get healthy.
Yeah.
He had a good year on a torn ACL.
He's had a good year every year he's been in college football.
Right.
People just didn't know about him before because he was in the MAC.
Mm-hmm. I think he's a good player.
He's the reason why Indiana.
Oh, yeah. He's a program elevator. Yeah. Like Ritter did that with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Right. And he did it with torn ACL.
Yeah.
I've heard he's not that mobile. I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah, torn ACL.
Right. Yeah. No, I like that.
He played through it.
Yeah. And now you have Rudolph. I mean, the chances of him seeing the field this year anyway are
they're
really
minuscule.
Slim.
Minuscule.
I mean, probably Skylar Thompson's ahead of him because he's been an NFL player.
Right.
If somebody were to get hurt in camp or whatever.
Yeah. So I don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
I mean, I would take if you told me right now without a 2nd-round pick.
I mean, you got DK Metcalf in the deal too.
The Steelers come out of this draft with their first 2 picks being Kenneth Grant and Cam Scatterbo. All right.
Yeah. I'll definitely take part 1 of that.
And I even like the 2 Belton and Pegas are both 2 big guys
big mauler type, physical dudes that fit the division and the mindset. Yeah. No, I don't dislike it at all.
Yeah, and you got DK Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like the Minkah Fitzpatrick deal. Okay, you didn't have a 1st-round pick that year.
Yeah, so that day's not real exciting. Right, you can't forget these things. Right. I mean, when you look at the draft class, boy, they didn't get much out of the draft class.
Chase Claypool was their first pick. They had Minkah. They got Minkah Fitzpatrick too. Minkah Fitzpatrick was their first pick.
You didn't throw the 1st-round pick down the sewer.
Right.
I mean, you did something.
You got an all-pro safety.
Right.
Kind of a big deal. If DK Metcalf goes out next year and makes the Pro Bowl, nobody's going to be talking about, the Steelers didn't have a 2nd-round pick this year.
Sure. Right. And who knows? It would be great to get back in the 2nd round.
I would like to do that very much, but again, at what cost?
It seems like the only way to do it is trading down in round 1.
Or trading this year's 3rd and next year's 2 or next year's 3.
Something next year.
Depending on how high up you want to go.
Right. I mean, because usually if you trade a 3rd next year, that gets you a 4th this year.
Right.
I mean, do I want to give up a 2? I'm not giving up next year's 1 no matter what. Am I giving up next year's 2 in any situation?
This year's
Maybe
3
not.
and next year's 2 to get back into the 2nd round this year.
I better love a player.
Yeah.
Better be like Hampton sitting there or something.
Better be the
crazy
next Stephon Tuitt.
Right, or somebody like that that should not be there, I mean, I wouldn't mind giving up this year's 3rd and next year's 3rd for Hampton.
Yeah.
But that's not going to get you as far as you think.
Yeah, we weren't going to be able to get up into the
And then the
late
other
2nd
option
round
is
to
if you
make
trade
that happen.
Pickens. Well, then you have a wealth of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you also open up another
now I
need.
need a receiver.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, Skoranek and Scotty Miller aren't going to replace George Pickens.
No. That's just the reality of it. Yeah. So, anyways.
More to come.
Yeah, let's get to another break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And welcome back. I'm Dale Lolley here with Matt Williamson on The Drive here on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. And, of course, you can hear this show every Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. right here on these very airwaves, or you can download the Steelers mobile app, where you can buy some new gear to
there you go.
take advantage of some of these new players the Steelers have coming in. Or you can download, or you can go to our YouTube channel, the Steelers YouTube channel, to see all the videos with the new players signing their contracts, talking to the media, and, of course, listen to this show.
No question.
And give us a thumbs up on that.
Sounds like you get yourself a new number 4 jersey.
That's the thing. So that was a big question for me today, because Kenneth Gainwell wore 14 in Philadelphia. DK Metcalf wore 14 in Seattle. George Pickens wears 14 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who was going to win the battle for 14?
Throw them all in a room. I'll bet on DK coming out.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
So if DK Metcalf or Kenneth Gainwell wanted the number 14,
yeah,
and George Pickens were willing to give it up, they would have to pay to have that happen because all the 14 Pickens jerseys out there would then have to be bought.
Oh, that's how that works.
It's an NFL rule.
Yeah, and there's a rule now. It's not like you just
because they've already been made. They're already out there. You go to any of the Steelers pro shops or anything like that, there are a bunch of George Pickens 14 jerseys.
Yeah, or NFL.com has a bunch of them on stock or whatever, in stock right now.
They're made.
So DK would have to buy every one of them.
Yeah.
Do you think they ship them to his house?
I don't know what happens.
They go to some third world country or something, or who
maybe,
knows, right?
And you see a bunch of guys. Hey, big George Pickens fans. No, I got it on sale down at the.
I got the best deal ever.
The Chuck-a-Luck.
Right? Yeah, right. That is kind of interesting. It's a weird rule. You don't just take George to dinner and be like, "Hey, how about I have
give you
numbers,
$50,000 and give me the number." No, it goes well beyond that.
There's more to it.
If you played in the NFL, you played a game,
right?
They got a jersey for you, but you can go get that.
So the point is, Metcalf is wearing 4.
He's wearing number 4.
Okay, we don't know what Kenneth is wearing yet. He needs to figure that out.
Well, he can't be 24, right? I gotta look at the.
I'm really bad. It's amazing how bad my mind works with jersey numbers.
Yeah, I've never been a big.
I never get it. My son's the opposite. He knows every jersey number in the whole league.
I never paid it. I pay attention to the name on the jersey, not the jersey.
I can see him running around and know exactly who it is if they didn't even have a number or name on the back.
24 is Joey Porter Jr. 34 is open.
Okay,
that's a better running.
That's a running back number.
That's a better running back number, anyways.
If there has to be a 4 on the end.
Yeah,
if that's what he cares about.
Or if he wants something with a 1 on it, then
it can't be many
11.
Do many running backs wear 14? I was shocked when you said that. That doesn't
not
sound
many.
like a running back number.
It's not a running back number.
No, right.
They're
more lenient now than they used to be on these things.
Gainwell is a Memphis product.
Mm-hmm. Those guys do well.
Those Memphis products,
it's amazing
they
that they can pump
out
running backs. Right.
Like it's every year there's a running back out of Memphis and like, wow, that guy's good, or a wide receiver out of Memphis, and they're all fast.
And they have some toughness to them, and he's had a good career. I think that's an underrated little pickup.
Yeah, I think when it's all said and done, of the guys the Steelers picked up, obviously Slay is going to be he's a starter.
Starter, right?
Yeah, Metcalf is a starter. Gainwell's going to be a guy that I think a lot of Steeler fans are going to look at and go, that's a good bargain signing.
Mm-hmm. It might be 5 carries a game for 30 yards or whatever, but maybe at the end of the season, it's like, boy, he got in the end zone 4 times and caught a handful of passes. And remember when he got us out of that Bengals game? Or, he's going to be useful.
You'll have 400 rushing yards and have caught 35 passes. And
yeah.
Well, that's pretty good.
I mean, who knows what they do in the draft, but will he be the 3rd down back? I don't know. I mean, Warren's so good at that.
Right.
But if Warren's doing the early down work, do you take that off Warren's
Yeah, you got to
plate,
give him a break sometime.
Depends what you had in the draft. And a lot of those guys come out of the draft, they don't pass protect, or they got to earn their trust a little bit too.
Yeah. I know he'll be the kick returner as well.
That's a done deal, don't you think?
He's done that the last basically year and a half now for the Eagles, and I would assume he does some of that for the Steelers.
I would think
he can fly.
Yeah, say he's fast.
Like a 4.42 guy.
Is that what he ran?
Yeah,
that doesn't shock me.
I had somebody on a message board say Steelers need to go get Josh Gray from Texas because they don't have a back like that. I'm like, that's exactly what they signed.
They just picked
a better version, a proven version of
been around the league and would have played a lot more if it wasn't for Saquon Barkley, obviously last year. Right? No, I like that pickup.
So him
and Eccles are the 2 I just didn't see coming at all, and they're warming up to both of them quite.
Yeah, those guys can both play in this league and play. They give you some flexibility. He can be.
It's a long season. You got to ask these guys to do a lot of different stuff.
And the thing is about Memphis is they run a ton of outside zone.
Which is exactly
when he was there. Which he's going to get to the edge.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they're looking for: zone runners.
Yeah.
I mean, I still need to do a little more homework on the draftable guys, but ones that aren't accomplished zone runners, I better probably not for the Steelers.
Yeah. Again, the teams tell you what they're planning to do with the moves that they make. And that one screams like we're looking for guys who can run the outside zone.
And he is fast. A lot of the Memphis guys are fast.
They can all fly.
Yeah.
Something in the water down there. I don't know.
Whatever the pipeline
he talked to,
is.
so it's funny. Eccles is a Memphis guy.
Yeah. He can fly too, by the way.
He can fly as well. He played high school football against DK Metcalf.
Really? Where'd DK grow up? I don't even know.
In the Memphis area.
Okay.
And
they're all from
big,
that
strong,
neighborhood?
faster than you would ever expect somebody that big. I don't know what it is.
Right.
That Memphis area.
How
Whatever
about
you're doing down there in Memphis, if we got any listeners in Memphis, if you can clue us in here to what's going on in Memphis, why they have all these guys that can run.
They could ship in some linemen. Look out.
Yeah.
No, the running backs from Memphis have done well. I didn't realize DK grew up in that area.
Yeah. He said his high school played against DK Metcalf's high school when he was in school, and somebody asked him if he was asked, how'd you match up against him? He said, well, I was an offensive skill player at that point.
Okay.
He didn't move to defense until later when he got to college.
He probably got the ball a whole heck of a lot.
But he was impressive.
I bet he was pretty good. He probably looked the part.
Yeah.
Again, I can't wait to see him in person.
But he heard of Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin can fly.
Yeah.
These guys all run.
Yeah. There's been quite a few. Gibson, Pollard, a couple of those guys, right?
Yeah. So it's D'Angelo Williams.
D'Angelo Williams had good success here. So, no, I think they're in good shape at the running back position going into the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice to get, back to our – I wonder if Henderson is less exciting now. I hadn't thought of that angle, but –
he's kind of a little redundant.
Yeah. But, the ability to take to the house is certainly intriguing. I don't know if you can get Junkins unless, with the gap where they're presently sitting there. I don't know if you can get Junkins. But someone could fall to the third that shocks you.
Yeah.
I mean, how many teams really need running backs or would be really excited about using a top 2 pick?
We're in the market for that particular style of running back.
Mm-hmm. We know Gentry's going to be gone.
Yeah.
But even finding a landing spot for him isn't easy.
Same thing with Hampton. Start looking at this, and some teams have started filling, like Dallas is. They've signed a running back. The Chargers signed Najee.
Right. I mentioned I did a mock. I had Gentry going to the Bears after they signed their interior line. I thought, okay, they want to run the football if it's a Lions-like manner. And then I had the Broncos take Hampton because, they signed Ingram the other day. I could see Hampton going there.
Yeah.
But I don't – are the Chargers done? I bet the Cowboys aren't done, but that doesn't mean use a top 2 round on a running back. It's it's such a deep draft. We'll go Najee in a 4th. Or, and that's the kind of thing that's fun to kind of work out, too. Like, who are we really competing for? Did a ton with centers last year.
Right.
It's not like receiver where everybody could use one or a lineman everybody could use. Who's really in the market for using a premium pick on a running back?
As we know, as everybody says, you can find those running backs anywhere. Anywhere.
They just roll and just pick one up on the way out.
You go to the running back tree and you pick one off. Mm-hmm. Oh, this one works.
That would be perfectly fine, right? They're all the same.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah. And there's still some other veteran backs out there who are probably going to be signed somewhere.
J.K. Dobbins and Chubb. Guys have had success, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that, they're not going to – I don't think the Steelers are signing another veteran
not after
running
Gainwell.
back.
No, yeah. I think that comes via draft.
And even that was it's so cheap of a deal.
All
there's not been a running back who signed a multi-year deal yet that I've seen.
No. I think Najee was the most marketable.
He's been the most expensive one.
Right. I think he's the one that was most sought after.
Yeah.
I assume Aaron Jones only a 1-year deal.
He was 2, but he stayed with his own team.
Yeah.
And he probably he's 32 years old. He's not going to see both years.
It's
fake money.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. He's a little older. No, that is interesting. It is a really good back class. And I do think they're probably done with free agents.
And some of the receiver stuff that's been out there, they've probably gotten a little bit more money than what I thought that they would.
A few of them.
Yeah.
We talked about Mike Williams. Some of the guys that were, I thought he'd get 8. He got 10. The guys who got 10.
Hearing that with 12. Cooper Kupp, he wants 10 plus. You want to pay Cooper Kupp 10 plus?
I don't think. I think he's closer to Hopkins at 5.
Right.
At this stage of his career. It's really only a slot only at this point.
And I think that's probably why some of those other guys haven't signed yet.
I bet Cooper and Diggs and those guys they're worth more than they are.
They want more money than what they're going to get.
Right. And they all have warts. This isn't 3 years ago.
Right.
The receiver market.
But you still feel that way when you're the player.
And you should.
Williams got $10 million last year coming off an ACL.
True. I guess was he worth more then than now? Not really.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he put great tape out since, but he's healthy.
He's healthy.
Yeah,
he can run. He can participate in OTAs and stuff. But
Keenan Allen's another name is so out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of those receivers.
That market hasn't been
really touched.
Once Godwin kind of got out and some of the other stuff that happened before free agency started.
Debo trade and stuff like that too. Yeah. I don't know. I wonder where those guys all scream 1-year contracts to me. All those receivers that are brand name guys.
And they might not want a 1-year deal.
No. I would think the Steelers are out of that market now too. And not that Skoranek would stop that, but you added him today. Your room's filling up pretty quick. If you're thinking about moving Pickens, then sure. But, I mean, Kupp would kind of interest me. The 3-receiver set of Kupp in the slot with those two behemoths on the outside is pretty appealing.
Ben Skoranek.
They are kind of similar.
He was the Rams' replacement for Cooper Kupp when Cooper Kupp was hurt.
Exactly.
And he had
throw
good
his
games
body
doing
around.
that. Yeah.
He's a big physical guy like that, All right.
So, I don't know. We'll see. There's more that's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it'll be a quarterback. Who knows? That's going to happen at some point.
I would think.
But anyways, let's get to another break. When we come back, we're going to hear from one of the new Steeler free agents.
Cool.
I'm not going to tell you who it is yet.
Ooh.
Make it a surprise. It's surprising. It's so surprising. Anyways, he's Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I'll be back with more right after this.
Excited about joining the Steelers organization?
Man, just a great opportunity, man. And Coach Mike T for sure. I always speak highly on him. I always been watching him from afar, and a lot of guys I looked up to as players came here and just always told me great things. Like Pat P, Joe Hayden is one of my favorite corners growing up when I was young. Even though we ain't that far apart, but I was always used to watch him a lot heavy. And I got Cam. Cam did a great job of just always mentioning him. And what's other crazy is Rod Woodson. That was my mentor coming in. When I got drafted, I stayed at his house for about a month and a half, learned football from him. So, that's another good part of my reasons, too.
How'd that come about?
We had the same agent, Eugene Parker, God rest his soul. And he introduced me to him, and that's how he kind of drew me to sign with him, too. He had a lot of guys that I looked up to into this game. He had Dion, Rod, and, a couple other guys I used to look up to. And I got a great opportunity to meet both of them. And both of them gave me a lot of, great advice about ball and everything. It's Slay.
What stuck with you, what Rod told you?
Oh, it's Slay. It's Slay. What's up?
What stuck with you about what Woodson told you?
Really, he kind of would just telling me always be healthy, and stay out the tubs. That basically means make sure you be able to play. And he just taught me a lot of formations and route recognitions and mostly, man, he had me on the track too a lot. He had me heavy on the track. But other than that, he's really just coached me ball and just teach me about life.
Late this year, I think before the Eagles and the Steelers played each other, you mentioned on your podcast this was something that was pretty close to happening a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
How did you get it across the finish line this time?
When the 2 years ago when it happened, when the Eagles kind of released me, they did not let it clear, I guess. So then they had just hey, we're not releasing you. Let's just work out a deal. And then, we came to a great number, and then I stayed. But, fortunately this time, I got a great opportunity now to come over here and play in this, this black and yellow or gold, however it is. I'm ready for it, though.
Did that consideration the last time kind of play into?
Oh, of course. It's one of my first choices. Like I said, Cam definitely, when he saw the report, he hey, Slay, man, you should come over here. And I'm like, man, look. They reach out, I'm with it. So, and they did, and I'm thankful that they did. So I got a great opportunity.
Slay, knowing how important it sounds like mentors have been to you, how much do you like mentoring some of the younger corners and working with someone like Joey Porter Jr.?
It's going to be great, man. I love that. That's the best part of my job. I love meeting new people. Some people don't like meeting folks. I love meeting folks. I love having an extended family because, I like just to meet people. And I'm very outgoing. And that's one of the biggest roles I like to take, just helping mentoring younger guys because God did that for me. And, so I always got to return a favor in my way, and that's how I do it. And I do it with genuine love, not by force. It's because I want them to be great. I want them to always be better than me. Any guy I ever had under me, my job is try to make sure they be better than me as a player, person, and everything.
Has enough time passed since the Super Bowl that you have an appreciation for whether or not it changed you as a player, and if so, how?
Say that again?
Has enough time passed since the Super Bowl? Do you have an appreciation for whether or not that changed you having gotten to the top? And if so, how?
I mean, yeah, it changed a little bit. It changed something on my resume. But other than that, man, it was a great feeling, man. Something I probably never, thought I would be experiencing as something that's that crazy. Just being a win in the Super Bowl. If I told my wife that, this is the closest thing to my kids. I love all my kids, my family, and everything. But man, it's a whole nother feeling with that confetti falling on you. So, but I was on my high horse for about a good month and a half. Now it's kind of calmed down, and I'm ready to feel that again though.
Slay, what do you remember about TA for the 4 years that he was your DC, and how excited are you to play under him?
It's gonna be great, man. I got him at a young age, second year in the league, and that's the first person that I had met when I got to when I came back into Detroit. And the first thing he said is like, I love you as a corner. I watched you when you came out, and I'm gonna make sure you one of the best. And he pushed me every day. He made me do scout team reps with Calvin Johnson when I was on first team D. So he made sure I got to where I needed to be. We watched film together every morning. He helped me become who I am today, and I always looked at him as a father figure, because we stayed in contact even after he left Detroit. He went to Cincy. He was talking, and then he come here. His nickname for me since he been here has been Top 5. Every time you see me, Top 5, Top 5. So we got a great relationship, and so he gave me help to get my first All-Pro. So I'm always looking forward to working with him.
What has helped you at this stage of your career continue to be so productive?
Honestly, man, I got to give another good shout out to TA. He taught me early as a young age, don't use your talent as much. So, only use your God-given when you need to. And what he mean by that is that basically, come a film room rat. So I kind of learn the game real quick, real early. And, people think I'm moving fast as I possibly can. I'm not, just because I just know where they're going probably before they're going. And that comes from watching film with TA and just trying to make sure I use my ability as long as I possibly can.
Any trepidation joining a team with a quarterback to be determined?
You say what?
Any trepidation joining a team with a quarterback that's to be determined?
Oh, of course. I've been watching this organization for a long time, and I can say I trust this organization more than anything. Just from the outside looking in, and definitely with Coach. As you can see, I wanted to bring his resume up, but he has not had a losing season for a reason. So I do trust him, and whatever he got going, I'm with it.
One of the guys that is potentially in the mix, Aaron Rodgers, is someone that you've faced a number of times in your career. Do you have any thoughts on how he plays as a quarterback? What it would be like to end up on the same team with him after facing him so many times?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, he was in Green Bay, slicing and dicing. So hopefully once upon a time he's slicing and dicing, we're on the same team. But however it goes, I'm here to play ball. I let the front office handle the front office because, like I said, I trust the front office. And whatever we need to do is what we're doing. I'm just ready to rock.
You talked about, prioritizing teaching as
Yeah.
a corner. What kind of pride did you take in? 2 rookies were with you last year. You guys
Yeah.
did what you did. What kind of pride did you take in how that worked out?
My thing is basically make sure they're comfortable. And, I was not forcing myself upon them as in just like, we need to do this, we need to do that. Because I'm a guy that's a willing worker. And, and if you're a willing worker, it's easy to go. And, so me and the young guys, we worked out every day, met up every morning. We worked out while offense doing their drills. We work out on the side of the field, get our stuff in. So I just like young guys that just want to be dedicated to their craft. And if you're not dedicated to your craft, this is not the sport for you. And I'm one of the ones that's really dedicated to myself. I don't force feed nothing, but I am going to be here for you, regardless. I don't care what it is. So that's how I am, and I think I gotta thank the guy, Porter for sure. I've been watching this game for a long time, even though he's been in 3 years, but I watch film on a lot of corners, and he got a great opportunity, and I'm thankful to be, a vet to him, to make sure I help him, help his game.
How eagerly are you anticipating training camp with DK Metcalf and George Pickens on the other side? Through tape study or the times you played against them, what do you think about going up against those?
It's going to be great, man. It's going to be a great opportunity for me and for them guys as well. I'm on their team now. Usually I scout against them and making sure, picking out their weakness. But one thing I am going to do is get them the update of what I had wrote on them about, so I could, learn from it. But it's going to be a great challenge. And like I said, I'm here to always help them get better. And I'm one of the ones that you ask me about any DB about that game, I can tell you what their weaknesses or their strengths is, because that's how much tape I watch of DB. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be, competitive. You know, I got into it with DK before, so it's gonna be fun too in a good way. But we gonna get after it.
Let's do one more, guys.
Slay, on that note, neither of those guys are going to be on the field, or neither of those guys were on the field in December when you played these guys, and things got pretty feisty, chippy against the Steelers. You have to smooth anything over, or do you kind of have one of those interactions with a lot of teams and players around?
No, I'm really the most easygoing dude, so it's gonna be smooth, man. It's just gonna be a smooth transition. It's just football, you know. It's just a competitive sport, you know. But you know, we teammates now, so hey, we go jump on other folks.
Thanks, Slay.
Thank you.
That was new Steelers cornerback Darius Slay with the assembled media today, and he is a confident dude.
Yeah, and he should be.
And
He's had a really
be.
good career.
Yeah.
He's followed around number one receivers. He plays man coverage. He does the tough things, right?
He does the tough things. They're
Better
not
on
going to
block.
ask him to necessarily do the tough things, but they're going to ask him to be the starter opposite Joey Porter Jr. And
And frankly, if he's the player he was last year for much of his 2024 Eagle tenure, maybe Porter doesn't follow as much.
right,
You know,
they don't have to
maybe
do
you
that.
don't- yeah,
you know,
who
when you're
knows?
playing the Bengals, you can play matchups if you want,
Left, right it,
but
or
you can
whatever,
left, right it, or
Mhm.
you know, if you're playing another team that, you know, just you can make that decision. You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
more
yeah.
tools in your toolbox.
Absolutely. Where I think he's an upgrade over what they played with there last year. I'm
Yeah.
certain of it. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. But Matt, that's going to do it for the show today.
Okie doke.
When we come back tomorrow, we're going to hear from DK Metcalf.
Nice. Very
So,
cool.
Hear what he had to say with his meeting tonight.
A lot of new faces
Still
on
hasn't
the
taken
south
place
side,
yet
huh?
with
Okay.
the Steelers media, but we'll hear what he has to say as the Steelers bring in that new toy on offense to work with. Maybe they'll have another new toy to work with on offense
Maybe.
by the time we do this tomorrow. Please, already, come on.
Yeah, let's get something done. Right.
This is enough. But for my partner, Matt Williamson, for Justin Miller, running the Justin Miller hotline, and for Tyler Vittmeyer, making sure our video gets out there on the YouTube. Check that out. Give us a good thumbs up on that. I'm Dale Lolley. We thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.